Psion. What is Psion? Psions are spellcasters who use innate mental powers to gain extraordinary abilities and unleash the magic of their minds. Psions and their magic, sometimes called psionics, can trace their history back to the appendix of the first edition Player's Handbook and a psionics using class first appeared in the Complete Psionics Handbook in 1991. Hey! Psionics have taken numerous forms in D&D, from alternative magic systems to options that dovetail with other D&D rules. In the 5th edition, psychic power is synonymous with magic, and the magic of the mind flavors numerous spells, monsters, and subclasses, like the Psi Warrior, Aberrant Sorcerer Sorcery. In this edition, Psion is spellcaster. Okay, Psion's a spellcaster. They use mind bullets. Intelligence, hit point die is a d6, so similar to Sorcerer and Wizard. Saving throw, Intelligence of Wisdom. Skill proficiencies, choose 2. Arcana, Insight, Intimidation, Investigation, Medicine, Perception, and Persuasion. Simple weapon, proficiency, armor, none. Spear, 2 daggers, light crossbow, 20 bolts. Case, I assume the case is for the bolts. Dungeoneer's pack, 6 GP or 50 gold. Design note, Psion updates. Psionic power now has a free baseline ability in telekinetic propel and telepathic connection. Spellcasting now provides new cantrips at levels 4 and 10. Psionic modes have been removed. Aspects of the design can be seen in other features like Psionic Discipline. Psionic Discipline now gives you additional disciplines at earlier levels, but you gain only 1. Psionic Restoration has been redesigned to quickly regain expended psionic energy dice. Psionic Reserves is a new feature that allows the psion to keep a minimum amount of psionic energy dice. Oh, that's nice. Enkindled Life Force is now more flexible in the amount of hit point dice that can be expended and clarifies the additional psionic energy die aren't expended. Level 1. Psionic power. You harbor a wellspring of psionic energy within yourself. This energy is represented by your psionic energy dice. The psion level determines the die size and number of psionic energy dice you have, as shown in energy dice column of Psion features table. So energy dice starting with 4d6, 2 cantrips, 4 prepared spells, and 2 first level spell slots. Your psionic energy dice are used to enhance or fuel certain psion features. You start with 2 such features: telekinetic propel and telepathic connection. Telekinetic propel sounds wordy. Maybe what it does actually explains it. Telekinetic propel should not be the final name. Some of your powers expend the psionic energy dice as specified in a powers description, and you can't use a power if it requires you to use a die when all your psionic energy dice are expended. You regain 1 expended psionic energy die when you finish a short rest, and you regain all of them when you finish a long rest. Some features that use psionic energy dice require your target to make a saving throw. The save DC equals, is your class DC. Spellcasting DC for your class. Telekinetic propel. As a bonus action, choose 1 large or smaller creature you can see within 30 feet of you. When you do so, the target must succeed on a strength saving throw or be moved 5 feet straight toward you or straight away from you. Alternatively, you can roll 1 psionic energy die when you take this bonus action, and the distance move is equal to 5 times the number rolled. The die is expended only if the target fails the saving throw. That's nice. It's like telekinetic shove. Why don't they call it telekinetic shove? I guess technically because it's pull also, but I think telekinetic shove better explains what it is. But forced movement is always pretty cool, especially since a lot of combat is run up and stop and stay there indefinitely. Telepathic connection. Telepathy with a range of 30 feet. As a bonus action, you can roll 1 psionic... Why can I not talk? As a bonus action, you can roll 1 psionic energy die. For the next hour, the range of your telepathy increases by a number of feet equal to 10 times the number rolled. The first time you use this bonus action after each long rest, you don't expend the psionic energy die. Range of 30 feet, and then for an hour, you're guaranteed to make it 40 feet. And then what is the die size? I guess it goes up. So you start as a d6. So average of, 3.5? So we'll call it 4. So you're adding 40 feet. So 70 feet? I guess if somebody's just outside of range, it could be useful. And then you roll that, and hopefully, I don't know. That seems more flavor than anything, but in niche circumstances, it could definitely be useful. Spellcasting, 2 Psion cantrips, Minor Illusion, Telekinetic Fling are recommended. Are they in here? Telekinetic Crush, Telekinetic Fling, here we go. And it's just down here. Alright, Telekinetic Fling. Casting time on action range 60 feet. Somatic, so Naruto hands. Duration instantaneous. Choose one non-magical object weighing 1 to 5 pounds within 10 feet of you that isn't being worn or carried to wreathe in psionic energy and fire at a creature within range. Make a ranged spell attack against the target. On a hit, the target takes 1d10 force damage. On a hit or miss, the object falls to the ground undamaged. And damage increases by 1d10 at 5, 11, and 17. So it's Flame Bolt, but force damage. Wait, Flame Bolt might be longer range, actually. It might be 60 feet. Firebolt, maybe? Is that what it is? Fireball, Firebolt. Nope. It is half the range of Firebolt. I don't know why, but sure. Maybe because fire is more resisted. And then Minor Illusion, everybody knows what Minor Illusion is if you're watching this. Spell slots, changing prepared spell, spellcasting ability. All this looks to be standard stuff for 5th edition. Subtle Telekinesis. You know, Mage Hand cantrip. You can cast it without somatic components and make the spectral hand invisible. Okay. Psionic Discipline. You learn further psionic techniques that are fueled by your psionic energy dice. You gain 2 disciplines of your choice, such as Expanded Awareness and Id Insinuation. Disciplines are described in the Psionic Discipline Options section later in this classification. You can use only 1 discipline each turn and only once per turn, unless noted by those options. Whenever you gain a Psion level, you can replace one. You gain an additional option at 5, 10, 13, 17. Alright, so let's go look at those. So, disciplines. Main updates to this. Biofeedback and destructive thoughts are now more flexible in the number of psionic energy dice they can expend. Bolstering precognition, formerly swift precognition, now provides a bonus to your or an ally's next d20 test. Devilish Tongue, expanded awareness, and observant mind, formerly tactical mind, now expend the psionic energy die only on a success. Sharpened Mind is a new discipline, and Ego Whip has been redesigned as a spell. Okay, biofeedback. So this is giving you lots of options. I don't understand why they're doing it this way, because it seems like a lot of the 5.5 update is trying to pull back feature choice. Biofeedback. When you cast a Psion spell from the Necromancy or Transmutation School, you can expend a number of psionic energy dice up to your intelligence modifier. Roll them, and gain a number of temporary hit points equal to the total number rolled plus your intelligence modifier. Okay, so self-buff. Because Psion spell from the Necromancer. You can expend a number of psionic energy dice. Do these spells, are there I guess cantrips, because it doesn't say with a spell slot, and everything else specifically calls out spell slot in this edition. So, bolstering precognition. When you cast a Psion spell from the Abjuration or Divination School, you can expend 1 psionic energy die. Roll the die and choose a creature you can see within 60 feet, which can be yourself. Until the end of your next turn, the creature gains a bonus to the next d20 test it makes equal to the number, gains a bonus to the next d20 equal to the number rolled. Okay. And it caps you at 1 psionic energy die, so starting out at level 2, you're going to get maybe a +6, and it's only a single die. Do you ever go to 12? Yeah, 17, you go to a 12. It's sort of like Bardic Inspiration, but I think Bardic Inspiration they get to choose. Bardic Inspiration requires a bonus action. It's 60 feet. Yep, 60 feet. And this is, in Bardic Inspiration is now only when they fail. So, it's a little bit different, but it's still kind of stepping on the bard toes there, which was a big problem with the first Psion in 5th edition, where it just like, oh hey, let's step on all the toes. Destructive Thoughts. When you cast a Psion spell from the Conjuration or Evocation School that forces a creature you can see to make a saving throw against the spell, you can expend a number of psionic energy dice up to your intelligence modifier and roll them. Creature takes psychic damage equal to the total number rolled plus your intelligence modifier, regardless of the result of the saving throw. If you make a saving throw against spell save, you can expend a number of silent energy dice up to your intelligence modifier and roll them. That is very good. So you could just Nova, round 1 Nova, any big bad. That seems a little strong. What is it? Level 8d8, so 68. So as of level 5, you can dump all of this into destructive thoughts and cause a single person to take or a single creature fireball. That just happens. So what, 68? So that's 4.5 times 8. Oh, don't make me do mental math. No, I'm going to sit here and do the math. So 4.5 is 9 times 4, 36 is the average. So at level 5, do they get access to Fireball? Because that would just be hilarious at this point. Can you double Fireball somebody? No. Okay. At least you can't double Fireball somebody, like a single person. Destructive Thoughts seems really strong. Maybe a little too strong. Devilish Tongue, when you take the influence action, you can roll 1 psionic energy die and add the number rolled to the ability check. If this causes you to succeed on the ability check, the die is expended. This is good. It not being expended is good. But I think this is a point of power creep for this edition, where I could be wrong, but this looks like power creep, where it feels bad if you spend it and then it doesn't work, but so does missing an attack roll spell slot spell. So I think this right here is a big piece of power creep. Expanded Awareness. When you take the search action, you can roll 1 psionic energy die. It's the same thing, but you can do it with search. We can do it with influence. Insinuation, when you cast a Psion spell from the enchantment or illusion school that forces a creature to make a saving throw, you can expend 1 psionic energy dice, it should be die, and roll it. One target of the spell, you can see, subtracts half the number rolled rounded up from its saving throw against this spell. Okay, so it's sort of like that one meta magic that sorcerers get. That's pretty good. When you cast a Psion spell, forces a creature to make a saving throw. So basically, this is baiting out. This is going to be used to bait out legendary resistances and force bosses to use them faster, which is good because legendary resistances are a little strong. Inerrant Aim. When you make an attack roll against a creature and you miss, you can roll 1 psionic energy die and add the number rolled to the attack. If this causes the attack to hit, the die is expended. Again, this seems a little power creepy. Like, I'm sure this would feel good as the person playing the Psion, but this system-wise feels power creepy. Especially the one for the attack, considering D&D focuses more on combat than roleplay or exploration pillars. Observant Mind. When you take the study action, you can roll 1 psionic energy die and add the number rolled to the ability check. If this causes you to succeed on the ability check, the die is expended. It's a study action. Like, if your DM is gatekeeping progress behind a study action, you're going to have more problems than just this being a little power creepy. Psionic Backlash. Immediately after a creature you can see hits you with an attack roll, you can use a reaction to expend 1 psionic energy die, roll it, and reduce the damage you take from the attack equal to 2 times the number rolled plus your intelligence modifier. In addition, you can force the attacker to make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, the target takes psychic damage equal to the amount of damage you reduce. This is cool. This is like a beefier Hellish Rebuke. Also adds in defense for you, or not defense, but damage reduction. Good amount of damage reduction. Even at level 5, it's a d6, so call it 4 times 2 is 8. And then you can force the attacker to make a wisdom saving throw. Plus your intelligence. So you're going to have at least, at 5, you'll probably have 4. So you're looking at 12 damage reduction, average, 11 if you don't have 4 in your main stat. That's still quite a bit. And then you can force the wisdom save equal to the amount of damage you reduced. Okay. It's Psionic Backlash is pretty cool. Psionic Guards. At the start of your turn, you can expend 1 psionic energy die. Until the start of your next turn, you have immunity to the charmed and frightened conditions and advantage on intelligence saving throws. If you are charmed or frightened when you use this discipline, the condition ends on you. Okay, so this, in my opinion, is too strong. I think probably you should roll the psionic energy die and you should suppress the charmed or frightened condition, and subsequent rolls should be made with advantage. Because are all charmed and frightened intelligence saves? Because I thought charmed was I thought those were usually wisdom. When you use Psionic Guards, you can also use a different Psionic Discipline this turn. I just don't like this one. I feel like it should suppress, not end, and then give you a bonus against this. Sharpen Mind. At the start of your turn, you can expend one Psionic Energy die to hone your destructive psionics. Roll the die and record the number rolled. You gain the following benefits for 1 minute or until you have the incapacitated condition. Bypassing psionics. Damage from your weapon attacks, Psion spells, and Psion features ignore resistance to psychic damage. Okay. Attack mode. Once per turn, when you deal psychic damage to one or more creatures, you can replace the number rolled with one of the damage dice with a number recorded when you activated Psionic Discipline. When you use Sharpened Mind, you can use a different Psionic Discipline this turn. Okay, so this is start of the turn, so no action required. Makes it so even though you're dealing psychic damage, you can still hurt stuff that is at least resistant to it. Once per turn, you can deal it. This should be a bonus action. This is sort of Scion Rage. This should be a bonus action, but they don't ask me. All right, that was level 2. Level 3, Scion subclass. The options are Metamorph, Psykinetic, and Telepath. We're going to continue with the base class, though, until we get the subclasses. Level 4, Ability Score Improvement. Level 5, Psionic Restoration. You can perform a meditation that focuses the mind for 1 minute. At the end of it, you regain expended psionic energy dice. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. At the end of it, you regain expended psionic energy dice. So, all of them? Is that what I'm hearing? And psionic energy dice up here. Finishing a short rest gives you back 1 energy die, and then this 1 per day gives you back all of them. Okay. Psionic Surge. You can push your psionic powers using your life force. After you roll 1 or more psionic energy dice, you can spend one of your hit dice and treat any roll of 1, 2, or 3 on those psionic energy dice as a 4. If you roll 1 or more psionic energy dice, you can expend one of your hit dice and treat any roll of a 1, 2, or 3 as a 4. Honestly, I would prefer if it just let you roll the hit dice and add to it. Like, I understand this is mathematically better, but I feel like if you're burning a hit die, it would feel better to roll it. Level 18. Oh, seriously? No features between 7 and 18? That's a little bit of a gap. Just a casual 9 level difference between class features? Level 18. Psionic Reserves. When you roll initiative, you regain expended uses of psionic energy die until you have 4 if you have fewer than that. When you roll initiative, you regain expended uses of psionic energy die until you have 4 if you have fewer than that. The wording on this is weird. I assume, so regain expended uses until you have at least 4. So it's a third. So you have, that way, at least when you roll initiative, you have at least a third of your psionic die. Okay. Epic Boon at level 19. Resistance is recommended. Level 20, Enkindled Life Force. You burn your life force to achieve greater psionics. Once per turn, when you roll 1 or more psionic energy dice for a psion feature or psionic discipline, you can expend 1 or 2 of your hit dice. For each hit dice expended, roll an additional psionic energy die and add the rolled numbers rolled to the total. This roll does not expend the psionic energy die. So basically, they took sort of what Psionic Surge should have been and made it a capstone. Okay. Like, it's neat, but it's, I don't know. I'm not crazy about it. Alright, subclasses. Metamorph. Design note, Metamorph updates. Mutable form, formerly extend limbs, now grants temporary hit points from the expended psionic energy die. Organic weapons now regains its form until you change it or have the unconscious condition. In addition, magic items that provide benefits to organic weapons will appear in future product if this subclass is printed. Fleshweaver is a new feature. Life-bending weapons now provides additional damage without expending a psionic energy die. Metamorph spells. Level 3, alter self, cure wounds, inflict wounds, lesser restoration. I like inflict wounds. It's nice. Level 5, Aura Vitality, Haste. Oh boy, so this is, yikes, this is going to be strong. Level 7, Polymorph Stone Skin. Level 9, Contagion, Mass Cure Wounds. Alright, so if it's going to be a melee, it needs defense. Mutable Form. As a bonus action, you can spend 1 psionic energy die to psionically stretch your limbs for 1 minute. Roll the expended psionic energy die and gain a number of temporary hit points equal to the number rolled plus your intelligence modifier. In addition, you gain the following benefits while this feature is active: reach, speed, touch. When you cast a spell that has a range of touch and a casting time of an action, you can make the spell's range 10 feet. Level 3, Organic Weapons. You can shape your limbs into weapons. As a magic action, you can reform your free hand into one of the following organic weapons: Bone Blade, Flesh Maul, or Visceral Launcher. When you take the attack action, you can use this feature before you make the attack roll. Your limb retains the form of the organic weapon until you take a magic action to change it into another organic weapon, or have the unconscious condition, or you return the limb to its previous form. No action required. Whenever you attack with a weapon, you can use your intelligence modifier for the attack and damage rolls instead of using strength or dexterity. Bone Blade. A blade made of bone springs from your forearm or extends from your hand. The blade counts as a simple melee weapon with the finesse property. It deals 1d8 piercing damage on a hit. You have advantage on the attack roll you make with the blade if at least one of your allies is within 5 feet of the target and the ally doesn't have the incapacitated condition. So straight up, they're giving you flanking for less rules that everybody said flanking was too strong. It is finesse, so people are going to multi-class this for Bone Blade. So 3 levels, Psion, and then who cares Rogue? Because 17 Rogue, sure. It's a D8 piercing weapon. You have advantage on attack rolls instead of just getting... This is too strong. Straight up, this is too strong. People said flanking in 5e was too strong, and they're like, oh, well, we're going to make it slightly easier. It's too strong. Flesh Maul. Your fist and forearm coalesce into a hardened mass of flesh and bone. The maul counts as a simple melee weapon and deals 1d10 bludgeoning damage on a hit. Creature hit by your maul has disadvantage on the next strength or constitution saving throw it makes before the start of its next turn. This could potentially combo well with some of your spells. Visceral Launcher. Your hand and forearm transform into a crossbow made of muscle and sinew that fires bolts of bile. I don't think they know what bile is. Bile is juice. Granted, gross juice. It's juice. So this is the Super Soaker Crossbow Gross Edition. The launcher counts as a simple ranged weapon with a normal range of 30 feet and a long range of 90 feet, and it deals 1d6 acid damage on a hit. Yeah, that makes sense. Once on each of your turns, when you hit a creature with an attack roll using the launcher, you can deal an extra 1d6 damage to the target. Stepping on Ranger toes now, with the tacked on extra damage. It makes sense, but I'm not well, okay, it doesn't all make sense, because you're not going to use a crossbow to shoot liquid. It falls within design parameters, but the flavor is wrong. Extra attack at level 6. In addition, you can cast one of your Psion cantrips that has a casting time of an action in place of one of those attacks. So, stepping on Eldritch Knight toes now. Oh my god, what is this? Toe-stepping the class? Sheesh! Level 6 Flesh Weaver. When you use Mutable Form, you can expend an additional Psionic Energy die to gain the following benefits while the feature is active. Organic Defense, you gain +2 AC. This should have been level 3. Empowered Healing. When you cast a spell with a spell slot that restores hit points to one or more creatures, you can spend 1 Psionic Energy die, roll it, and add the number rolled to the healing points, to the hit points regained. Organic Defense needs to get moved into Mutable Form. Long time ago, I homebrewed a Warlock that was very similar to this. The AC needs to go much earlier. You're sitting at a D6 hit die. Some temp HP isn't going to make a difference if you're in the front line. Level 10. Improved Mutable Form. When you use Mutable Form, the duration increases to 10 minutes, and you gain one of the following benefits from your choice. The effects last until the Mutable Form ends. Stony Epidermis. You have advantage on Constitution saving throws to maintain concentration. In addition, choose one of the following damage types: Acid, Bludgeoning, Cold, Fire, Lightning, Piercing, Poison, Slashing, or Thunder. Gain resistance to the chosen damage type. How does Mutable Form work? Bonus action. Okay, so you have a good idea of what you're going to be fighting when you cast this. So, yeah. Superior Stride. While you aren't wearing armor, you can take the dash action as a bonus action, and you have a climb speed and swim speed equal to your speed. Okay. Unnatural Flexibility. You gain +1 bonus to AC, and your body, along with any equipment you're wearing or carrying, becomes pliable. You can move through any space narrow as 1 inch, and you can spend 5 feet of movement to escape from non-magical restraints or in the grapple condition. So, +2 AC, +1 AC, you're +3. I believe they got no armor. right? No armor? No armor for you? Armor none. So dex, so 10 plus dex would cap him at 15. This would put him at 18 if they tried to stack everything and they had 5 dex. They really go heavy on subclass in the middle. I don't know. Maybe that's a design. Maybe that's a system design thing. Constantly stacking AC seems weird, but yeah. Level 14, life-bending weapons. Your weapons become wreathed in negative energy, and you radiate life-mending psionic energy. When you hit a target with an attack roll using your organic weapon or roll one psionic energy die, the target takes extra necrotic damage equal to the number rolled. Why? Why is it necrotic? This roll doesn't expend the die. Alternatively, when you hit a creature with one of your organic weapons, you can instead expend one psionic energy die and roll it. Target takes extra necrotic damage equal to the roll, and each creature of your choice in a 30-foot emanation originating from you regains hit points equal to the number rolled plus your intelligence modifier. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until the start of your next turn. Okay. Like, this is cool. I like this part. I don't know where the necrotic damage is coming from. Like, where's the flavor of necrotic damage? I don't get it. Like, mechanically interesting, but why necrotic? Psykinetic. Design note: Psykinetic updates. Stronger telekinesis is a new feature. Telekinetic techniques is now allows the Psion to use telekinetic propel more than any other Psion. Destructive trance, formerly empowered attack mode, no longer uses psionic modes and can add one psionic energy die to your spell damage without expending it. Rebounding field grants temporary hit points whether the target fails or succeeds its saving throw. Enhanced telekinetic crush now adds the psionic energy die expended to the modified spell's damage. And heightened telekinesis now only requires psionic energy dice and doesn't expend a spell slot. Psykinetic spells: Cloud of Daggers, Levitate, Shield, Thunderwave, Slow, Telekinetic Crush, included in the UA, Odaluk's Resilient Sphere, Stone Shape, Telekinesis, Wall of Force. Level 3, Stronger Telekinesis. Ups the range and what you can carry with Mage Hand. That's pretty cool. Telekinetic techniques. When you use telekinetic propel, you can roll 1d4 and use the number rolled instead of expending a psionic energy die. Well, that's kind of cool. In addition, when the target fails a saving throw against your telekinetic propel, you can impose one. Didn't telekinetic propel use an attack roll? Oh, that's telekinetic fling. Never mind. Do one of the following effects to the target. Target speed increases by 10 feet. Wait, what? In addition, when a target fails a saving throw against your telekinetic propel, you can impose one of the following effects on that target. Target speed increases by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. Disorient, the target can't make opportunity attacks until the start of your next turn. Telekinetic bolt, the target takes force damage equal to the number rolled on the psionic energy die. Okay, so you can boost an ally with it. That is cool. I like this. Telekinetic propel an ally, move them 5 feet, either towards or away from you, and then you can boost their speed on their next turn. That's cool. Because it's offensive and defensive. Well, it's ally and enemy. So, that's cool. Destructive Trance. At the start of your turn, you can expend one psionic energy die to enter a destructive state. For the next 10 minutes, you gain a fly speed of 20 feet and can hover. And when you cast a Psion spell that expends a spell slot, you can roll your psionic energy die and add the number rolled to one damage roll of that spell. The roll doesn't expend the psionic energy die. Okay. Rebounding field. When you cast Shield, in response to being hit by an attack roll and cause the triggering attack to miss, you can expend one psionic energy die to launch the force back at the attacker. The attacker makes a dexterity saving throw. Roll one psionic energy die. On a failed save, the attacker takes force damage equal to the amount rolled plus your intelligence modifier. On a successful save, the attacker takes half as much damage only. Whether the target fails or succeeds on the saving throw, you gain temporary hit points equal to the amount of damage dealt. That's kind of neat. You're casting shields. I think it was the other subclass that had the, like, rebound, right? That had that, like, reaction, or was it base class? Oh, Psionic Backlash, right here. So this conflicts with that class thing, but I like the Psionic Backlash better. But this is a class thing, or a subclass thing, so you're using your reaction for shield, so you gain the AC until the start of your next turn. I don't know, I could see it being okay, but it does kind of conflict with that. It would be nice if you could have a choice. Level 10. Enhanced Telekinetic Crush. When you cast Telekinetic Crush, you can expend 1 psionic energy die to modify the spell so that whether a creature fails or succeeds on the saving throw against the spell, its speed is halved until the start of your next turn. In addition, you can roll the expended psionic energy die and add the number rolled to 1 damage roll of the spell. Okay. Heightened Telekinesis. You can cast Telekinesis without expending a spell slot by instead expending 4 psionic energy dice. When you cast Telekinesis without expending a spell slot, using this feature, you can modify the spell so that it doesn't require concentration. If you do so, the spell's duration becomes 1 minute for that casting, and you can target gargantuan creatures and objects. That's kind of cool. Maybe a little bit more situational than you want for your capstone for your subclass. Telepath. Design note updates. Mind Infiltrator now expends only 1 psionic energy die. Telepath spells. Has new spells. Telepathic Distraction is a new feature replacing Telepathic Hub. Bulwark Mind, formerly Empowered Defense Mode, definitely a better name, no longer uses psionic modes and can add 1 psionic energy die to a saving throw without expending it. Potent Thoughts now also increases the range of your telepathy. Scramble Minds now doesn't expend a spell slot and allows the Psion to choose the behavior of the target instead of rolling dice. That's probably a good change. Mind Infiltrator. When you cast Detect Thoughts, you can expend 1 psionic energy die to modify the spell so that the spell doesn't require spell components or concentration. In addition, when you use the Read Thoughts effect of the spell, the target doesn't know you're probing its mind if it fails the Wisdom saving throw. That's cool. That's a nice change. Telepath spells. Bane, Command, Detect Thoughts, Mind Spike, Counterspell, Slow, Compulsion, Confusion, Modify Memory, and Yolande's Regal Presence. Oh, and another thing, Telepathic Distraction. When a creature you can see within range of your telepathy hits with an attack roll, you can take a reaction to roll 1 psionic energy die and subtract the number rolled from the attack roll, potentially causing the attack to miss. The die is expended only if the target attack misses. That's pretty cool. Again, lots of stuff fighting for your reaction. Well, I guess the other one's a subclass feature also, so there's only 2 things fighting for your reaction. Level 6, Bulwark Mind. At the start of your turn, you can spend 1 psionic energy die to strengthen your mind and enter a fortified state. For the next 10 minutes, you have resistance to psychic damage, and whenever you make an intelligence, wisdom, or charisma saving throw, you add a roll of your psionic energy die to the save. Rolling the psionic energy die doesn't expend it. You can't use this benefit if you have the incapacitated condition. So 10 minutes of once per combat, resistance to psychic damage, and a bonus to your mental saves. That's pretty good. Level 6, Potent Thoughts. You have telepathy with a range of 60 feet. In addition, you add your intelligence modifier to the damage you deal with any psion cantrip. Now, hey, there we go! But that should really be level 3. Telepathic Bolstering. When you or a creature you can see within range of your telepathy fails an ability check or misses with an attack roll, you can take a reaction to expend 1 psion energy die. Roll the die and add the number rolled to the d20, potentially turning a failed check into a success or a miss into a hit. The psionic energy die is expended only if the check succeeds or fails. So this class is really the please don't make me fail, I have more dice, please for the love of God, please let me do it. They're really going hard on, oh, well you just roll extra dice and try to succeed. I think the class just leans too hard on that. Level 14, Scramble Minds. You can cast Confusion without expending a spell slot by instead expending 4 psionic energy dice. When you cast Confusion without a spell slot using this feature, you can modify the spell so that the radius of the spell's sphere becomes 30 feet, and you can choose 1 creature you can see within the spell's area to automatically succeed on their saving throw against the spell. In addition, when a creature under the effect of the spell starts its turn, you choose their behavior from the table for the turn instead of a creature rolling to determine its behavior. Fails! Design note spell updates. Several spells from Tasha's Cauldron and Everything return in this article alongside new spells. Here are the main updates to the spells in the article. General updates. Returning spells have been refined and brought in line with revisions in the 2024 Player's Handbook. New spells in this article. Bleeding Darkness, Ectoplasmic Trail, Life Inversion Field, Summon Astral Entity, and Telekinetic Crush. Add new options to various classes. Spell list. The Psion also receives unique spells, Ego Whip, Life Siphon, Psionic Blast, and Thought Form. Telekinetic Fling. This cantrip no longer requires ammunition and doesn't destroy the object. Tasha's Mind Whip. The spell now restricts the target's turn options as before. Abby Dalzim's Horrid Wilting. Level 8 Necromancy. Action, 120 feet. Bit of Sponge. You draw the moisture from every creature in a 30-foot cube centered on a point within range. Each creature in that area makes a Constitution saving throw, taking 12d8 necrotic damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. Constructs automatically succeed at the save, and plant creatures automatically fail. Non-magical plants in the area that aren't creatures, such as trees and shrubs, wither and die instantly. Bleeding Darkness. Level 3 Evocation. Casting time, action, range 60 feet. Components, verbal, somatic material, vial of rare ink worth 50 plus GP. Duration concentration up to a minute. You create an inky void in a 10-foot radius sphere at a point you can see above yourself within range. When you cast the spell, magical darkness pours from the sphere, filling a 10-foot radius, 40-foot tall cylinder originating from the sphere until the start of your next turn. The cylinder is difficult terrain, and no light, magical or otherwise, can illuminate that area. When the darkness appears, each creature in the area must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or take 3d8 cold damage and have the blinded condition until the end of its next turn. A creature also makes the save when it enters the spell's area for the first time on its turn or ends its turn there. A creature makes this save only once per turn. Until the spell ends, you can take a magic action to move the sphere up to 20 feet horizontally and cause the sphere to pour magical darkness until the start of your next turn. Using a higher level spell slot, the damage increases by 1d8 for each spell slot level above 3. Ectoplasmic Trail. Level 2 Necromancy. Casting time, bonus action, range self, components verbal, somatic, duration instantaneous. You cloak yourself in spirits that leave ectoplasm in your wake until the end of your turn. While cloaked, you can move through occupied spaces as if they were difficult terrain, and moving doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. If you end your turn in such a space, you are returned to the last unoccupied space you are in. While cloaked, whenever you enter the space of a creature, the creature becomes covered in ectoplasm until the end of your next turn. A creature covered in ectoplasm has its speed reduced by 10 feet and takes 2d8 necrotic damage at the start of its turn. A creature can be covered in ectoplasm only once during a turn. Using higher level spell slots, while cloaked, your speed increases by 10 feet for each spell slot level above 2. Ego Whip, level 2 enchantment. Casting time, reaction, which you take when a creature you can see within 30 feet of yourself makes a charisma-based ability check or saving throw. What a mouthful. Range 120 feet. Components verbal. Duration instantaneous. The creature makes a charisma saving throw. On a failed save, the target must subtract 1d8 from the ability check or saving throw. Enemies Abound. Level 3 enchantment. Casting time, action, range 120 feet. Components verbal and somatic. Duration concentration up to a minute. Choose a creature you can see within range. The target must succeed on an intelligence saving throw or have the frightened condition for the duration. While frightened, the target loses the ability to distinguish friend from foe and is affected in the following ways. Target regards all creatures it can see as enemies. Whenever the target chooses a creature other than itself for an attack, spell, or other ability, it must choose at random from among the creatures it can see within range of that attack spell or other ability. Target must make an opportunity attack each time it is able to. Each time the target takes damage, it makes another intelligence saving throw. On a successful save, the spell ends. Intellect Fortress. Level 3 Abjuration. Casting time and action. Range 30 feet. Components verbal. Duration concentration up to an hour. For the duration, one willing creature you can see within range has resistance to psychic damage as well as advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws. Higher level spell slots, one additional creature for each spell slot level above 3. Life Inversion Field. Level 4 Abjuration, casting time 1 action, range self, components verbal, somatic, duration concentration up to 1 minute. An aura radiates from you in a 30-foot emanation for the duration. When you create the aura, you regain 4d8 hit points. Whenever you regain hit points, you can choose a creature you can see within the aura and force it to make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes necrotic damage equal to half the amount of hit points you regained. Round up. A creature makes this save only once per turn. Using a higher level spell slot, the healing increases by 1d8 for each spell slot level above 4. Life Siphon. Casting time, 1 action, range 120 feet, components Somatic. Duration instantaneous. You fire an orb of psionic energy fueled by your life force at a creature you can see within range. Make a ranged spell attack against the target. On a hit, the target takes 1d10 psychic damage and can expend one hit die to increase the damage by 1d10. Using a higher level spell slot, the damage increases by 1d10, and the number of hit dice you can expend increases by 1 for each spell slot level above 1. Mental Prison. Level 6 Illusion. Casting time in action. Range 60 feet. Components somatic. Duration concentration up to 1 minute. You attempt to bind a creature within an illusory cell that only it perceives. One creature you can see within range must succeed on an intelligence saving throw or take 8d10 psychic damage and have the charmed condition for the duration. On a successful save, the target takes half damage only and the spell ends. While charmed, the target has the restrained condition and perceives the area around its space as dangerous to it in some way you create. You might cause the target to perceive itself as being surrounded by fire, floating razors, or hideous maws filled with dripping teeth. Whatever form the illusion takes, the target can't see or hear anything beyond it. If the target is moved from the illusion, makes a melee attack through it, or reaches any part of its body through it, the target takes 5d10 psychic damage and the spell ends. Okay, so you might cause the target to perceive itself as being surrounded by whatever form the illusion takes, the target can't see or hear anything beyond it. If the target is moved from the illusion, makes a melee attack through it, or reaches any part of its body through it, the target takes 5d10 psychic damage, and the spell ends. I feel like this is going to cause problems. Because an NPC is going to attack at the walls of whatever cell it has, and it is going to take the extra damage, and the spell is going to instantly end. So it's not going to be used for CC. It is instead going to pretty much always cause the damage to happen, and it's going to be problematic. It's a problematic spell. Psionic Blast. Level 6 Evocation. Casting time 1 action. Range. Self. Components verbal, somatic, material. Duration instantaneous. You unleash a concussive burst of psionic energy. Each creature in a 60-foot cone originating from you makes an intelligence saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes 68 psychic damage and has the stunned condition until the start of your next turn. On a successful save, the creature takes half as much damage only. Higher level spell slots, 1d8 for each spell slot level above 6. And it causes stunned, I guess. Well, it seems really weak for a level 6 spell. Like, really weak for a level 6. Like, this is... what, level 6? Level 11 spell? Oh, 60-foot cone. Never mind. It's fine. I was thinking one target for some reason. Psychic Scream, level 9 enchantment. Casting time 1 action, range 90 feet, component somatic, duration instantaneous. You unleash the power of your mind to blast the intellect of up to 10 creatures of your choice that you can see within range. Creatures that have an intelligence score of 2 or lower are unaffected. Each target makes an intelligence saving throw. On a failed save, the target takes 14d6 psychic damage and has the stun condition. On a successful save, the target takes half as much damage. Only. If the target is reduced to 0 hit points by this damage, its head explodes, if it has one. At the end of each of its turns, the stunned target repeats the save, ending the condition on itself on a success. Rolothim's Psychic Lance. Level 4 enchantment, casting time 1 action, range 120 feet, components verbal, duration instantaneous. You unleash a shimmering lance of psychic power from your forehead at a creature you can see within range. Alternatively, you can utter a creature's name. A pseudonym, title, or nickname doesn't work. If the named target is within range, it becomes the spell's target even if you can't see it. If the named target isn't within range, or you use an invalid name, the lance dissipates without effect. The target must make an intelligence saving throw. On a failed save, the target takes 76 psychic damage and has the incapacitated condition until the start of your next turn. On a successful save, the target takes half as much damage only. Using a higher level spell slot, 1d6 for each slot level above 4. Summon Astral Entity. Level 3 Conjuration. Casting time 1 action, range 90 feet. Components verbal, somatic, material. A gem or crystal worth 300 plus gold. Duration concentration up to 1 hour. You call forth the spirit of a psionic entity. It manifests in an unoccupied space that you can see within range and uses the psionic spirit stat block. When you cast the spell, choose Crystal Entity, Ectoplasmic Entity, or Ghostly Entity. The creature resembles an astral entity of that kind, which determines certain details of its stat block. The creature disappears when it drops 0 hit points or when the spell ends. The creature is an ally to you and your allies. In combat, the creature shares your initiative count, but it takes its turn independently after yours. It obeys your verbal commands, no action required by you. If you don't issue any, it takes the dodge action and uses movement to avoid danger. Higher level spell slots. Use the spell slot's level for the spell's level in the stat block. Okay, that's a wonky way to word it. Sonic Spirit, medium abjuration, neutral. AC 11 plus the spell's level plus 2. Oh, crystal entity only. HP 40 plus 10 for each spell level above 3. Speed 30 feet, fly 30 feet, ghost entity only. I'm assuming that's just the fly. Immunities, psychic, sense, dark vision, 60 feet, passive perception 11, languages, deep speech, telepathy, 60 feet, CR none. Traits, incorporeal passage, ectoplasmic entity and ghostly entity only. The spirit can move through other creatures and objects as if they were difficult terrain. If the spirit ends its turn in such a space, it is shunted to the nearest unoccupied space and takes 1d10 force damage for every 5 feet traveled. Multi-attack, crystal strike, crystal entity only, melee attack roll, bonus equals your spell attack modifier, reach 5 feet, hit 1d10 plus 3 plus the spell's level piercing damage. Ectoplasmic splash for ectoplasmic entity only. Ranged attack roll, bonus equals your spell attack modifier, range 30 feet, hit 1d6 plus 3 plus spell's level. Psychic damage, hit or miss, each creature in a 5-foot emanation originating from you and including the target has its speed reduced by 5 feet until the end of your next turn. Okay, so emanation originating from... Okay, it's not from you. Okay, I misread that. Each creature in a 5-foot emanation of the ectoplasmic entity. Ephemeral ray, ghostly entity only. Ranged attack roll. Bonus equals your spell attack modifier. Range 120 feet. 1d8 plus 3 plus spell's level psychic damage. Reactions. Shard swarm, crystal entity only. The spirit is hit by a melee attack roll. Response, the spirit halves the damage round down. It takes from that attack. The spirit can then teleport to an unoccupied space it can see within 30 feet of itself. That's kind of neat. Tasha's Mind Whip, level 2 enchantment. Casting time 1 action, range 90 feet, components verbal, duration instantaneous. You psychically lash out at one creature you can see within range. The target must make an intelligence saving throw. On a failed save, the target takes 3d6 psychic damage and can't make opportunity attacks until the end of your next turn. On its next turn, it must choose whether it gets a move, an action, or a bonus action. It gets only one of the 3. On a successful save, the target takes half as much damage only. Using a higher level spell slot, 1 additional creature for each spell slot above 2. Telekinetic Crush, level 3 transmutation. Casting time 1 action, range 120 feet, components verbal, duration instantaneous. You create a field of crushing telekinetic force in a 30-foot cube within range. Each creature in that area makes a strength saving throw. On a failed save, the target takes 5d6 force damage and has the prone condition. On a successful save, the target takes half as much damage only. Using a higher level spell slot, the damage increases by 1d6 for each spell slot level above 3. Telekinetic Fling. Evocation cantrip. Casting time 1 action, range 60 feet, components, somatic, duration, instantaneous. Choose 1 non-magical object weighing 1 to 5 pounds within 10 feet of you that isn't being worn or carried to wreathe in psionic energy and fire at a creature within range. Make a ranged spell attack against the target. On a hit, the target takes 1d10 force damage. On a hit or miss, the object falls to the ground undamaged. Cantrip upgrade, 1d10 at 5, 11, and 17. Thought Form, level 6 transmutation, casting time, bonus action, range, self, components, verbal, material. Brain matter in a vessel worth 500 plus gold. Duration, concentration up to 1 minute. You briefly transform into a psionic spirit. You gain the following benefits until the spell ends. Ghostly form. You have immunity to poison and psychic damage, and have immunity to the exhaustion condition. Incorporeal movement. You have a fly speed of 60 feet and can hover. You can move through occupied spaces as if they were difficult terrain. If you end your turn in such a space, you take 1d10 force damage. If the spell ends in such a space, you will return to the last unoccupied space you were in. Psionic Recharge. As a magic action, you can touch a creature, which can be yourself, and roll 1d6. The creature regains 1 expended spell slot, the level of which equals half the number rolled, rounded up, or lower. Once a creature regains a spell slot from the spell, the creature can't do so again until it finishes a long rest. That concludes the Psionic, or the Psion. This is the updated Psion, so this means this is the second pass. Gonna be honest, this is still toe-stepping the class. There are a lot of really cool concepts in here, but between stepping on Bard, Ranger, Eldritch Knight, and any that I missed, along with their "oh, I failed, can I please get a bonus die to this" on basically everything, I'm not a fan. This is rough. As an update, to me, this is insanely rough. I'm not a huge fan of psionics to begin with, but I can appreciate their like role and their niche in flavor. But yeah, this I don't know, I'm just not a big fan. It still seems kind of all over the place. It seems like they want to make him a full caster, but they also want to make him a melee option, and they also want him to be Gish. It seems like Scion as a class might not work, and they just need to go ahead and make a Scion subclass for each class, which I think they're half done doing. If you disagree, let me know what you think down in the comments. Thanks. Bye.